Do you have 401ks at previous employers and keep them at separate places because you think it might be a benefit for you? Watch this video and find out how we answer that question from a viewer in regards to what should you do with your 401ks when they're held at different custodians, and is it an added benefit? Hi everyone, Logan Sadler here. Thanks for stopping by the Financial Beat YouTube channel. As always, here to bring you another educational video on retirement planning. This specific video was actually brought up by a viewer who wrote in, and it's a great question. It's from Nancy, and Nancy's asking, I have two 401ks from previous jobs. One is in Vanguard, one's in Fidelity, and I'm wondering if I should roll them into my current 401k, but I like the diversification of having them at different places. Is it smart to keep them separate like this? What should I do? That is a great question. And this is something I actually come across quite a bit when meeting with new clients that are coming on board. I'm seeing they may have 2 or 3 or 4 or sometimes 10 different accounts at old 401ks or old employer accounts. And a lot of them say the same reason, Nancy. They say, well, I like it because I have diversification, right? All my eggs aren't in one basket. They're at different places. This is actually a very common misconception because what I find as the advisor when we're doing the reviews for these accounts is that most of the time they are all in the same funds, right? You might have one at Vanguard and one at Fidelity, and they're both in a 2020 fund, for example, a target date fund, or they're both in the S&P, or they're both in the Vanguard bond index, right? They're always sometimes in the same account, so you're really not getting the added diversification that you need when you're looking at retirement plans. So again, sometimes it gives you a false sense of diversification and not putting all your eggs at one basket, because a lot of the time, again, they're in similar types of accounts with the same risk or the same goal in mind, and that's not necessarily what you want. One of the things we're big believers in when it comes to this situation is when we move a client on board, I always tell people you do things for financial reasons and then peace of mind reasons, right? One of the biggest benefits I always tell people is a lot of the times these can be combined in an IRA. To answer your question directly, Nancy, if you haven't watched our other video on reasons to roll over your 401k to an IRA once you're no longer working there, go ahead and head over and check that out. But that's the reason I wouldn't necessarily recommend roll it into your current 401k. I would roll it into a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, whatever type of accounts you have, and do that correctly, work with somebody on that. But basically, the reason I'd recommend that is because now you can build a customized plan and look at stocks, bonds, mutual funds, large cap, small cap, annuities, whatever you're going to use. We can build it and really give you that actual diversification by having it at different places. Because again, one of the times I find that very common where we have all of our accounts kind of structured the same, not knowing that, just thinking that different places, that they probably have different funds, they probably track different things, right? Well, that's not always the case. So you really want to make sure you're doing that. The other reason I like this reason to combine it to the IRA is because I have a lot of clients that have, 500,000 at old 401k here, 100 there, 200 here. And all of a sudden it gets very hard as you get older and older to manage these and to keep track of everything. So we're big believers with our clients, sometimes to make things simplistic as possible. Sometimes you could add those into the IRA all into one sometimes, or into two, and really make sure you're getting diversification in different funds, different investments, different goals, but you're not having to manage 3 or 4 or 5 different accounts, right? So that's one thing that always comes down with me, but that is a great question, and I get that one a lot, so don't feel like you're out there on the lone on that one. But basically how it works is I would not recommend that. A lot of the times they're in the same fund, so I recommend you getting with an advisor. Give us a call or give someone that you trust or work with a call, and make sure you're going over that and really kind of looking at your asset location and seeing if each of your investments make sense. And again, make sure they're not all tracking the same thing if you didn't want them to. So great question, Nancy. I appreciate you writing in. Those of you viewers that haven't yet, go ahead and click subscribe. Again, doing quick videos each week for you on retirement education. I'm Logan Sadler. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.